Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our legislative-style Supplier Diversity Hearing. Before we begin, I have the pleasure today of introducing Councilmember Kenny McDuffie, who will give us some remarks before we begin. Councilmember McDuffie is an experienced attorney, civil rights advocate, and community leader dedicated to improving the lives of district residents, and he serves as the council member at large representing districts of all 8 wards and has served on the council since 2012. He is a chairperson for the Committee on Business and Economic Development, which is responsible for matters concerning small and local business development policy. In this role, Councilmember McDuffie works to ensure that the district economy continues to grow and that small and local businesses have a fair chance to take part in the district's economic growth. As a council member, Councilmember McDuffie has authored many laws intended to make the District of Columbia a more racially equitable, socially justice, and economically inclusive city, including the Transformational Racial Equity Achieves Results Act, REACH Act. So at this time, I'd like to call Councilmember McDuffie and ask him to give a few opening remarks.
Thank you, Chairman. And good afternoon to everyone.
Good afternoon.
I want to thank the Public Service Commission, all the commissioners, particularly the chairman, for the invitation to join you all this afternoon. As I have in previous years, I know that the team at the Public Service Commission has worked hard to make today's event a success, which I know it will be. I was down actually a little earlier this morning at Arena Stage for a utility resource fair. And I really appreciated the presence of our local utilities at that resource fair. As I mentioned there, you all play such a key role in powering, cooling, connecting, servicing, and watering the District of Columbia. And really, literally without you, it would be next to impossible for the city to function. So thank you for your partnership in that event earlier. I also know that, like many things, the costs associated with the services our utilities provide have increased over time, as with most things. Inflation, service improvements, large-scale capital projects, all of these have increased the cost to our residents and your consumers. It's important that we find ways to make these costs and services more approachable to those who need this help the most. And I look forward to continuing our work together, collaboration with you all on those efforts in the months ahead. It's no secret that I've spent the bulk of my professional life working to ensure the well-being of the District of Columbia, and as Chairman Thompson mentioned, making the District of Columbia more racially equitable, more socially just, and more economically inclusive. I've taken every opportunity to build and grow a more inclusive local economy and address the disparities that exist while increasing access to equity for our small, local, women and minority-owned businesses. And I work with many of the folks who are in this room. It's precisely why I'm here, to learn more about the achievements that you all have made over the last year, but also to challenge you all to do more. More by taking up this mantle each and every day in our great city. Whether it's been through my support of the DC Community Anchor Partnership Initiative that we work with CNHED on, the support and resources that I put behind creating the Commercial Property Acquisition Fund, or my unceasing challenges to all of our businesses. I've always fought to see more opportunities afforded to our residents and our small, local, and disadvantaged businesses here in the District of Columbia. And I know we can see in doing more by challenging one another, by reframing our thinking, recommitting ourselves to empowering our people and our local businesses. And today's hearing is just one part of the larger scale interventions that we need to grow our minority, women-owned, service-disabled, veterans, and LGBT-owned businesses. We know that these firms are capable. I'll say that again. We know that these firms are capable. We just need to match them with the right opportunities that you all are creating so that they can excel. And we've seen some examples of that success. And when those businesses succeed, they employ people from the community and ultimately will help chip away at the racial. We have some wonderful partners across the district who have stepped up to the plate and committed themselves to doing more, but we know there is always room for improvement. We also know there are others out there who should be a part of this discussion as well, not because they have to, but because they want to. Our labor force has been an integral part of our economic recovery as we continue to battle empty office buildings downtown. We're focused like a laser working with the mayor and her team at DIPED on reinvigorating our downtown. At the heart of that work has been the fortitude, the sacrifice of small businesses who are still trying to weather these hard times, who in partnership with all of you, through your procurement and supplier opportunities, can expand and stabilize their footing, who will keep fighting so that they too can mentor others, individuals and small businesses looking to do the same in the future. My team and I look forward to working with you all and ensuring that our committee, Business and Economic Development Council, can be a resource as we grow this up. So again, thank you to Chairman Thompson, to Commissioner Trayview Beverly for all your efforts in this regard, and I look forward to hearing what is shared here in today's hearing.
Thank you, Councilmember McDuffie, and thank you for your leadership. I'll give a few brief opening remarks. The commission convened this hearing to hear from the DC's regulated utility providers about their supplier diversity efforts. For those of you who are newer to the space, 3 years ago, Pepco, Verizon DC, and Washington Gas made a commitment to be intentional about supplier diversity within its procurement and contracting practices. Each utility signed a voluntary agreement captured in an MOU, pledging to award at least 25% total procurement spend to diverse businesses, which includes minority, women, and veteran-owned businesses. This commitment demonstrates our shared belief that diversity is business. Diversity in business is good business. As regulators, it is the Commission's duty to balance interests and ensure accountability. In this proceeding, the Commission is tasked with looking back at the conversations we've been having, language we all agreed to in 2021, and the reports we reviewed in March 2024, not only ensure commitment, but also forward movement. As has been the case for the past couple of years, the companies have either been compliant or have met all or exceeded their 25% spend goal. However, there have been some things of concern that we'll talk about during this hearing. The goal of the MOU is to maximize business opportunities and partnerships for diverse suppliers. Yet, it appears that in some cases, when meeting this goal, DC businesses are not getting the benefits of those opportunities. As DC's Public Service Commission, our commitment is to our district residents, and that includes supporting, stimulating, and fostering the economic growth and development of businesses based here in the district. We are having this hearing today because we are not only committed to good business, but also to the residents of the district. I am by no means saying that the utility's efforts should be limited to district-based diverse suppliers. However, it is clear that without measurement and accountability, these targets could be missed. And so I never want to hide the ball during one of these hearings, so I'll be very clear that today I'll certainly be listening for intentional efforts with district-based businesses. I want to hear about good faith effort, collaboration, communication, and commitment within the district. As you may recall from last year's hearing, the Commission has been hosting listening sessions throughout the year with local businesses that have an interest in doing business within the energy sector. Many are here today and others are listening virtually. I have gathered many important themes from these conversations, and one thing that is very clear to me is that there are many qualified businesses within the district that hope to get the opportunity to do business with you. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank the representatives from the district's Department of Small and Local Business Development being here today. DSLBD works directly with many of the district's diverse businesses. Following our hearing with the utilities, they will talk to all of us about how they work and how we can all be better partners with their agency to build business relationships in the district. I also noticed a few representatives from the Office of the People's Council. Thank you for coming today. You're a vital participant in the work that we do here. And of course, I want to thank the utilities for coming. This is a voluntary MOU, and I thank you your commitment to this. You play a vital role in our society, not only providing essential services to the district, but also meaningful and substantive contracts and job opportunities. This is an important discussion. I don't want to delay any further. But before we get started, I certainly want to turn to my fellow commissioners, Commissioner Beverly and Commissioner Trabue, to give some opening remarks.
Afternoon. I just want to thank the chairman for continuing this important process so that this is something that everyone can benefit from and learn how to improve. Also, thank all the participants for coming today to share your thoughts with us so that I personally can figure out whether there's something else that needs to be done, especially in hearing from people who may be listening to this who've tried to participate in the process and may have had some difficulty. So any of those people are listening, I encourage you to contact me and tell me what your problems have been so that I can help to try and resolve it.
Councilmember McDuffie, Chairman Thompson, and my colleague Commissioner Beverly, and to the utilities who have voluntarily come here today, and to those in the audience and those listening, wherever they may be, I'd like to say, first of all, good afternoon. And as the chairman mentioned, this is an extremely important hearing. As the junior member of the commission, having been here for only about 19 or 20 months at this point, this is the second hearing of this type which I've participated in. I sincerely enjoyed the first one, took a lot of notes there, and I thank those of you who were there last year and those of you who have come back again this year. But if we wind the clock back to our last hearing and we look at where we are today, I would say that we find ourselves in a very different time, although we're in the same location. We find ourselves in a time nationally where large firms seem to be openly discussing their plans to eliminate diversity, equity, and inclusion as part of their ongoing corporate operations. It's something that, personal level, with which I disagree. But it is something that is clearly the focus of this hearing today. Although many people might say this is a government town, and I do recognize that the federal government combined with the district government probably constitutes around 30% of the employment base in the city. The utilities represented here today are clearly some of our largest private concerns, private enterprises here in the District of Columbia in terms of revenues, employment, contracting opportunities. And so we applaud them for their commitment to the city, its residents, and the businesses who do work here. Having reviewed the preliminary filings on this matter and looked at the numbers that were presented last year, I will just say up front, there are some, again, disturbing trends in terms of spending, and I want to be open with you and as transparent as the chairman was in his remarks, and just to say we'd like to discuss, why some of these numbers may have changed so dramatically year over year, and understand our role as a commission to say, is there anything that we might be able to do to help reverse some of those trends and move us in a more positive direction? Without further ado, Mr. Chairman, I'm going to hand it back over to you. Allow this hearing to formally begin. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners Beverly and Trabue. Without any further ado, we will go ahead and get started. Hear from the representatives of each of the utilities. Each utility will have 7 to 10 minutes to give an overview of their Supplier Diversity 2023 annual report and their 2024 plans. We will first hear from Potomac Electric Power Company, Pepco, then Verizon DC, and last but certainly not least, Washington Gas Light. So you can certainly speak from your seats, but as you begin, please just introduce yourself and then go from there.
Good afternoon. I'm Vernice Lewis, Director, Diverse Business Empowerment for Pepco. Good afternoon, Chairman Thompson and esteemed members of the Public Service Commission, distinguished guests, and advocates of supplier diversity. I appreciate the opportunity to share with you the impact of Pepco's supplier diversity process. Through a commitment to fostering a diverse supplier base, we have not only enriched our business ecosystem, but also contributed to the economic empowerment of the regions where we do business. In 2023, Pepco achieved $387 million in spend with diverse suppliers, representing 44% of overall utility spend. We also achieved nearly $268 million in direct spend with diverse businesses. Of that, approximately $77 million was spent directly with diverse businesses based in the District of Columbia. Last year, we commissioned an economic impact report to assess the impact of our supplier diversity process on diverse businesses across the enterprise and the regions where Exelon does business, including the District of Columbia. The report revealed positive results. Over the past year, our supplier diversity process has contributed to more than $141 million in revenue for diverse suppliers in the district, while creating approximately 559 jobs, generating more than $10 million in taxes to stimulate growth. The results are a testament to the power of inclusivity and the value of supporting businesses from all backgrounds. I'm proud to highlight some of the inspiring success stories that have emerged from our process. From a DC-based minority-owned business providing engineering infrastructure improvement projects to a local MBE-led business flourishing as a key supplier. These stories exemplify the transformative potential of supplier diversity. These achievements not only benefit the individual suppliers, but also contribute to a more vibrant and resilient supply chain. Next slide, please. So this slide here highlights the pillars in DC with whom we work. DCI has hired 11 residents from the DC Infrastructure Academy, which we refer to as the DCIA, which trains residents to support in-demand infrastructure jobs. Many of these residents were from wards 7 and 8, areas traditionally lacking high-paying jobs. Tina Boyd and Associates has successfully led her firm to secure bids on significant projects, such as the DC Plug Cat Grid projects with Pepco. These achievements have provided Tina Boyd and Associates with the leverage needed to gain future contracts with other major organizations, including DC Water and the Douglas Memorial Bridge. SMOOT construction is a critical component of the Pepco Capital Grid project, which aims to strengthen the local energy grid, help our communities benefit from clean energy solutions. With the neighborhood's rapid growth and development, within Ward 5, SMOOT renovated Spring Arm High School to create the home of the DC Infrastructure Training Center. We also highlight Holland Enterprises, which initially started as a subcontractor, but now Holland Enterprise has successfully transitioned to a prime contractor. The company's growth and success are attributed to its participation in the Pepco Empowerment Academy, a program that has equipped them with essential skills and opportunities to expand their business. Their collaboration with Pepco has been a pivotal part of their journey. We also partner with our suppliers to advance workforce development initiatives throughout the organization. In 2023, Pepco supported 9 workforce development programs, graduating approximately 79 participants, resulting in 26 external hires. Our involvement in local, regional, and national diverse supplier advocacy organizations helps us stay informed about diverse suppliers and enhances our engagement in the community. Central to our commitment to supplier diversity is our engagement with our local advocacy agencies. By partnering with these groups, we amplify our efforts to promote inclusivity and equity in the business world. Through collaborative initiatives, we strive to create a level playing field for diverse suppliers and foster a culture of diversity and inclusion across the industry. We're active members of more than a dozen national and local diverse supplier advocacy agencies, including the Billion Dollar Roundtable, the National Utility Diversity Council, the Capital Region Minority Supplier Development Council, or the CRMSDC, the Greater Washington Partnership, the Maryland-Washington Minority Companies Association, and the DC Department of Small and Local Business Development. The Metro DC Hispanic Contractors Association, and the Greater Washington Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. Our participation in these organizations underscore our commitment to supporting diverse businesses and ensuring they have ample opportunities to thrive. Last year, we partnered with regional affiliates of the National Minority Supplier Development Council for the second cohort of the Foundations Program, which is a capacity building program designed to introduce local businesses to the utility industry. Locally, we partnered with the Capital Region MSDC. In October 2023, Pepco and our parent company Exelon announced a $2.7 million investment to 4 local minority-owned businesses that will help each business grow and ultimately strengthen under-resourced communities in our region. The funding is provided through the Exelon Community Impact Capital Fund, which helps expand access to capital for businesses in historically disenfranchised or socioeconomically disadvantaged communities in Exelon's service territory, so they can create more jobs, grow their companies, and reinvest in their neighborhoods. Grow their companies and reinvest. The fund is managed in partnership with Rock Creek, one of the world's largest diverse-owned global investment firms, and further delivers on our commitment to drive economic equity and opportunity for our customers and our communities. At Exelon, Supplier Diversity, and Pepco, Supplier Diversity is fully integrated into our sourcing process. Our strong partnership encouraged supply employees to participate in various networking events and to promote diversity throughout the entire organization. Timely communication with our DBE office allowed for efficient research of best-in-class diverse suppliers throughout its network. Our internal communications process includes the following mutual considerations: the active sharing of bid opportunities with our DBE office, which in turn researches and pre-qualifies diverse suppliers to participate in sourcing events, ensuring that our DBE office is informed and communicated with for internal clients and to external partners. Non-diverse suppliers, as well as our non-diverse supplier partners as well. We do regular reporting of the progress of our diverse supplier spending and process to our senior leadership, and we review current contracts to ensure maximize diverse supplier opportunities. Our supply leadership team continues to reinforce to our sourcing professionals their commitment to collaborate with our Supplier Diversity Office to identify sourcing opportunities and invite potential suppliers to sourcing events. Our category managers regularly partner with our office when bid opportunities arise, and our Diverse Business Empowerment Office actively assisted in the management of strategic sourcing initiatives. We have a longstanding commitment to diversity and inclusion and are continuously striving to be a utility industry leader in this area. We recognize the importance of supplier diversity in all aspects of our business and procurement practices. As we celebrate these achievements, we recognize that our work is far from done. We remain committed to further expanding and enhancing our supplier diversity initiatives, identifying new opportunities for collaboration, and continuously improving our process to ensure that diversity and inclusion remain at the forefront of our procurement practices. We also intend to continue to support robust growth in diverse suppliers in the future, as we have in the past, if we are able to continue to fund planned grid modernization and enhancements. Keeping these plans will allow diverse suppliers the confidence to staff and plan, thus growing their businesses and contributing to district economic development. I want to express my gratitude to the Public Service Commission for your ongoing support and guidance in advancing supplier diversity within the utility sector. Your partnership and advocacy have been instrumental in driving positive change and creating a more equitable and inclusive business environment for all. Thank you for your attention, support, and dedication to advancing supplier diversity within the district.
Thank you, Ms. Lewis. Sure. I failed to say this earlier, but we'll save questions until all the presentations are done. With some overall questions, everybody can answer at once. So at this time, we'll now turn to you, Mr. Smith from Verizon.
Thank you and good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. My name is Doug Smith, Vice President, State Government Affairs for Verizon. I am pleased to join you today as part of the consortium of companies that have pledged their commitment to supplier diversity in the District of Columbia. Verizon is proud to have been a part of this program since the very beginning. I'm here to share our 2023 results, which were not as strong as they have been in past years, after a series of strong performances up through 2022. I'd also like to share some of our plans for 2024. Last year, Verizon invested almost $6 million with diverse suppliers in the district, even as the regulated side of our business continues to witness a rapid disconnection of copper landline facilities. However, the wireless side of the business is experiencing growth in capital investment, and we are actively replacing our old copper landlines with fiber optics. In 2023, there was a significant increase in overall spend for Verizon within the district as we updated our reporting methodology to be more consistent with the parameters of the MOU, which resulted in a significant increase in the reportable overall spend. Unfortunately, and more importantly, we lost the services of our number one diverse firm. They went out of business, which left us scrambling to find a replacement. Our supplier and business unit personnel spent months searching for a new diverse supplier. They searched for a firm that is large enough to handle our workload, financially stable enough to stay in business, and sophisticated enough to handle the complexities of our business needs. We had zero success after spending hundreds and hundreds of person hours in the search. There were potential candidates, but all of them failed in our due diligence process. Accordingly, with the increase in overall spend and the loss of our number one diverse supplier, Verizon's certified business enterprise result dropped to 8.29% after last year coming in at 28.9%. The bright spot in the 2023 results is that 68% of our top 25 suppliers are diverse. As we continue to focus our energies on diverse vendor management and engagement, the internal Verizon team that monitors and implements minority vendor programs has had considerable success with programs that began last year across all of our business units. For example, prime suppliers now must report Tier 2 spend to us in our Tier 2 spend portal on a quarterly basis, and they have to deliver improvement in diverse spend year over year. To support this initiative, we implemented a supplier diversity playbook for prime suppliers back in 2022 that generated results last year. This playbook was designed as a resource for our primes to engage in a call to action for supplier diversity. Verizon shared in its annual report and procurement plan to the PSC a number of partnerships, activities, and programs that serve the minority business community. We mentor and coach. We host webinars. We conduct panel discussions that support our diverse suppliers, enabling them to grow their businesses and achieve success. We will continue to host events such as our Small Business Summit that was held in DC earlier this year. It was a collaborative event designed to increase business opportunities through partnerships with small and diverse suppliers. An example of how our focus on diverse suppliers permeates all of our purchasing decisions is that while Verizon officially measures supplier diversity based on direct spend with diverse businesses and suppliers that report their Tier 2 spend to Verizon, there are other indicators of diverse supplier utilization that we take into consideration and strive to meet. For example, excuse me, in the context of law firms, which is a major industry here in DC, Verizon strives to ensure that well over 30% of the attorneys who bill time to our matters are diverse, even if the ownership of the firm is not. So when a firm can't quantify such work as Tier 2 and their ownership doesn't meet the definition of diverse supplier, Verizon reports that as a 0 on our spreadsheet tracker, but the actual personnel supporting our matters are often incredibly diverse, in fact, at a very high level. Verizon is also a proud charter member of the Billion Dollar Roundtable, which is a coalition of 39 companies that spend more than $1 billion each year with diverse businesses. Looking to the future, Verizon will continue to participate in outreach activities, hosting webinars, programs, panel discussions to help drive diverse supplier utilization. Now, turning briefly to our workforce diversity, we have a great story to tell. Verizon partners with many diversity-focused organizations to recruit diverse talent, and we post open positions on diversity-focused third-party platforms such as GI Jobs, Girls in Tech, AARP, and HBCU Connect, in addition to traditional job sites. We also recruit from Verizon's paid Thrive Apprenticeship program, which gives participants with diverse backgrounds and experiences the opportunity to develop professional and technical skills. Our track record shows that over 60% of our employees are composed of women and minorities. Also, 6 of the 10 board members of Verizon are women or ethnically diverse. We also have a 7-month mentorship program that matches senior executives with female employees to advance their leadership skills and development. As you would expect, Verizon also has earned awards and recognition such as Top 50 Employer of Equal Opportunity, top 3 company for gender diversity and a military-friendly supplier diversity company. Verizon stands proud of its commitment to workforce diversity. Thank you for this opportunity to report on our progress. I hope you get a sense of the focus and energy that Verizon continues to bring to diverse supplier opportunities and a diverse workforce in the district. I'll be available for questions at the end of the presentations.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. I think I will take a moment of chairman's privilege here and go against what I just said. I do have a quick question for you. You mentioned this diverse supplier who is no longer in business and affected your numbers. What field of work were they in?
They were in software development and IT, which was a tremendously large category for us, and they were the largest supplier, actually not just in DC, but for all of Verizon.
Thank you.
Which is what tripled our numbers.
Thank you. Now, now we'll turn to Washington Gas and have Mr. DuPont present for us.
Good afternoon, Chairman Thompson, Commissioner Beverly, and Commissioner Trabue. It's a pleasure to be able to present to you for the second year in a row. My name is Lyndon DuPont. I was the interim vice president of supply chain for 2023. I'm currently the senior director for regional operations for DC for utility ops. It's a new role for me that I moved into in May, and I think we'll have some additional opportunities to engage in a particular role. Congratulations. Thank you so much. The theme today is about building business relationships in the district. I think that the work that we've done in 2023 and the strategic plans that we have in place in 2024 is going to be kind of in alignment with that theme. Again, thank you for the opportunity to present our 2023 results and our 2024 plan. 2023 overall was an outstanding year for Washington Gas for supplier diversity. We exceeded $208 million, which is a 6% increase compared to 2022. Also, we hit 32.7 in terms of our percent target, just keeping us on track toward our 35% commitment. We're very committed to that. We're going to have plans in place to make sure we hit that 35% by 2028, and we're going to do so by increasing our supplier base for DC certified diverse businesses. Our achievement at Washington Gas is a direct relationship of our commitment from our employees as well as our executives on creating a supplier base that's reflective of the community. As I said last year, it's an all-hands approach at Washington Gas. While we had success in 2023, we recognize that it's important to continuously improve. So there's some process improvements and additional strategies and enhancements to our program that you'll hear about more. I'll turn it over to Lon. I'd like to, as you remember my commitment last year, is we didn't have a manager of supplier diversity. They had resigned in Q2, and I committed to the process, and we were going to hire the best that we could possibly find. And here to tell you, this Washingtonian to my left, you'll be very impressed with. Her name is DeLon Johnson. She's a senior manager supplier diversity. She's going to lead our presentation today. And with that being said, I'm going to turn it over to sort of walk us through our successes and our plans.
Good afternoon, commissioners. Good afternoon, small business community. My name is DeLon Johnson. I'm the Senior Manager of Supply Diversity for Washington Gas. I've worked in this industry for a little over 20 years. I initially started in affordable housing, focused on the CBE program, and it was really an easy transition for me to join Washington's Gas organization because I could see the progress and I could see that they are definitely interested in evolving. As Lyndon mentioned, Washington Gas, first slide please, Washington Gas dispersed $208 million to diverse suppliers, which resulted in us landing at 32.7%. And what that equates to is that $117 million was actually dispersed directly from our relationship with diverse suppliers. So this was not from subcontracting opportunities. In fact, this was from our relationships, which equates to 56% of our diverse spend. Of that amount, $25 million went to diverse businesses that were located in Washington, D.C., which equates to 22%. Next slide, please. In order to be successful in 2023 and what we are looking towards for 2024, we took a very strategic approach. We wanted to first focus on Tier 1, which is including diverse suppliers in every bid, also collaborating with multiple agencies to host webinars on how to become certified. We found that there were a number of firms that identified as certified but did not have the certification and needed some kind of hand-holding on how to become certified. Also, implementing a strategy to retain our existing diverse suppliers, how we can expand their scope, how we can provide guidance to them that will ensure that we can work with them long-term. Constant engagement at supplier diversity events has been helpful as well, because that engagement has allowed for us to develop new relationships. In addition, internally, we meet on a monthly basis with our internal business units and our supply chain to discuss and identify upcoming opportunities. We've also decided to increase our annual diversity spend goal per category. And so each category manager has a goal that they have to meet every year, and we manage that on a monthly basis, and we report and meet with them on a quarterly basis. We also have established a Supply Diversity Champion Council. That council, it includes a category manager as well as a business unit representative, where we are there, again, strategizing on ways that we can identify additional opportunities, whether or not it's from an outreach perspective or whether or not there are opportunities within our subcontractor community or within Washington Gas. We utilize data streaming in order to collect this data. So we have a dashboard, which was mentioned last year. We also have an automatic diversity reporting supplier IO that we utilize to obtain our Tier 2 numbers. And then we have a supply diversity vendor portal where suppliers can register, upload their certificate, and kind of provide a high-level description of what their company provides and services. As I already mentioned, a part of our strategy has been to work with the community. And so what that entails is not just internally, but working with different chambers, CRMSDC, Department of Small and Local Business Development, the Greater Washington Urban League, just to name a few. And then lastly, suppliers engagement has been an imperative. So we have been unbundling larger contracts to provide breakout opportunities for smaller business to compete. We offer debriefs to bidders who were unsuccessful to give them opportunity to learn from why they did not win the bid. And then we also provide more education. So virtual webinars and training on how to do business with Washington Gas, sometimes office hours to our existing prime contractors to educate them. And then also, again, as I mentioned, how to become certified. Next slide, please. We wanted to also kind of discuss the progress, improvements, and challenges. As it relates to the progress, I would say we were able to develop the diverse suppliers retention strategy to expand our diverse suppliers capability and growth opportunities. We, as I mentioned, created a Supply Diversity Council, which not only do we work together to strategize on opportunities for diverse suppliers, but we also work hand in hand as it relates to outreach, so that we can all kind of divide and conquer if needed. And then also increase the training opportunity to diverse suppliers. The improvement has been, as Lyndon mentioned, the spend for 2023 was an increase, 6%. And then also our participation of just being out in the community has improved as well. I would say the challenge would be, and not necessarily a challenge, so I'm labeling it opportunities to expand. I very often hear from DBEs with the Department of Transportation who would love for to be more part of the supply diversity program. And so that's really my only feedback as it relates to opportunities to expand, to be able to engage the DBEs from that particular agency as well as the Department of Local Small Business Development. Next slide, please. Here, I just wanted to kind of just give you a glimpse of like some of the activities that we participate in this year. The one at the bottom was the event that we participated in with the Department of Small Local Business Development, Meet the Primes, also with the Hispanic Contractors Association. So we are very much engaged in meeting with diverse suppliers in environments where they're going to be, as well as environments that we also create. Can we go to the next slide, please? So in June of 2023, Washington Gas actually hosted an event. And at the event, we kind of celebrated our success of reaching 32.7%. We gave awards to our internal and external stakeholders. One of the stakeholders is a DC located firm, Fort Meyer Construction. Fort Meyer received an award for not only for their excellent work of working in Washington Gas, but also their work in the community because they host a roundtable for other diverse businesses on a monthly basis, and we were able to be a part of that. Do I have 2 more minutes? So I wanted to lastly kind of address some of the questions that the council had in advance regarding information with wanting information on the matrix, wanting information on the wages that are paid and per ward and tax contributions. And so I would first like to say thank you again for that feedback. We use your MOU as kind of our Bible and as our guide. And even with this most recent letter, we took that to understand that we need is more information. So we have involved a third-party organization who will work with us to generate the economic impact report. We anticipate that report will come in the next 2 months. And once we receive that report, we're more than happy to share that with the Commission's office. And also, I wanted to mention for 2025, we are still finalizing our budget. However, there are some opportunities that we're looking into that potentially will become available, such as janitorial services, security, painting, drywall, and plumbing. As these bidding opportunities emerge, we will leverage our vendor portal where diverse suppliers have already registered to invite them to bid as long as they're registered. So in closing, I would like to say thank you for allowing Lyndon and I the opportunity to provide an update on our supply diversity program.
Thank you for that presentation. I'm going to hop right into it with my questions. I'll start first with something that Mr. Smith has somewhat already addressed, but really looking at DCCBE spend. I will say, when looking at the numbers, this year, Washington Gas exceeded what they did the previous year, DCCBE spend, but it's not as good as it's been previous years, right? And if you look at 2021, it was about $38.1 million, and this year it's 26.3. With Pepco, it's been a declining trend over the past few years. Peaked at 140 million in 2021, and is down almost 50% this year to 76.5 million. Why?
Thank you. Thank you for that question and the opportunity to address it. So for Pepco, as our various projects that those suppliers were working on came to completion, that resulted in a decrease in overall spending. However, Pepco's overall diverse supplier spending is up about 35 million compared to the same time last year. But as projects come to completion, then the spend does begin to decrease.
Is any of that attributed to the fact that diverse spend, as Pepco has gone through various iterations and mergers, the focus isn't the same at the DC level for DCCBEs, and a global look is being taken at it, or DC being lost in the mix?
No, not at all. We are very intentional and committed to growing the expenditures with diverse businesses and CBEs in the region, in DC, right? So we're very intentional about ensuring that CBEs and diverse businesses in the district are in the sourcing process and being awarded from Pepco. So we stay focused and committed on it. Sometimes the spend does go up and down, but we have not lost sight of it, nor have we lost our commitment to that.
I know Verizon already kind of answered the question. I would just pose the same to Washington Gas. Yes, it's improved since last year, but it's about 33% lower than its peak in 2021. Any comments on that?
Excuse me, can you hear me?
Yes.
Our commitment is the same as, our comments are the same as Pepco. We have a mixture of projects that we complete. And as we complete those projects, vendors come in and out of the particular effort. I'll reiterate, our commitment to supplier diversity is the same across all three jurisdictions that we serve. I'm actually going to be the person responsible for regional operations here in DC. I'm a big proponent of sure that we've got DC suppliers represented. So that's my rebuttal.
I know there was certainly there was talk about getting more people, suppliers into the mix. You know, the past year we've done a number of chat and shoes, and at this point, all three of us have done them now. And probably the thing that I heard, I'll speak for myself, is that a lot of suppliers feel that, you know, opportunities do come up, guys look to the same 2 or 3 vendors to handle all of them. I heard you, Mr. Smith, say that you spent a lot of time trying to find a replacement for that one vendor who left, but it shouldn't be that one vendor leaves such a big hole in your spend. And so I'm really interested. I know you've talked about a little bit hearing something a little bit more concrete about how you will ensure that new businesses get new opportunities and not just entry-level jobs or entry-level contracts, but all contracts. So whether it's legal, whether it's engineering, construction, consulting, all those types of things. Anybody can go first.
One of the things that I typically take away from sessions like this today in the district, last week in Maryland, is best practices. And you may have seen me taking notes. I plan on stealing a few ideas. Unbundling large contracts is brilliant. Our biggest vendor that we lost had a massive amount of work. Let's break it up. Let's break it up. And it sounds obvious. It sounds rudimentary. We never thought of it because they started small and grew on us, and they were doing such great work. We kept them. They were doing phenomenal. And then for whatever reason, I won't go into their business plans, they went out of business and we were left literally holding the bag of all that work. We can chop that up. So I want to thank Washington Gas for that idea and this commission for this panel, this opportunity to share ideas.
Commissioner or Chairman Thompson, a couple of things that we've been really pushing hard upon. I'm an engineer by trade, so we've actually been able to increase our supplier diversity for engineering firms as well as construction firms. Unfortunately, they've not been in the DC area, but it's not been for lack of effort. We've engaged over 164 suppliers in the last 10 months since Delon joined us. Unfortunately, it's not translated to one additional supplier, but we're certainly doing our part to try to increase our effort. And as you heard before, we partner with them to even help get them certified. So we're definitely committed to doing so.
So we always, we're very intentional about our supplier development programs. So internally, we have what's called the Empowerment Academies, which is a program that we have in each of our utilities, and we develop local diverse firms and prepare them to do business with us and navigate corporation and navigate specific utilities. So we tend to be intentional about focusing on developing suppliers through that to help them get the skills that they need so they can prepare and can compete for those larger contracts on Pepco system.
And this is my last question for this round. Just going a little bit deeper into that Empowerment Academy. I know certainly with the Infrastructure Academy that you guys are part of, that generally leads to a completion of a job. Well, at the completion, you get a job, right? Some type of guaranteed employment. Is there some equivalent of that with the Empowerment Academy, or is it you go through the process and then you're put into the hopper with all the other.
So there is no guarantee of contract coming through the Empowerment Academy. However, what the program does is prepare vendors to do business with us, and we also offer them mentoring and a hands-on approach throughout the process. So the program runs about a year. We graduated this year, our latest class. We graduated 37 suppliers across the enterprise, so each of our utilities, including Pepco. So with that, although we don't guarantee contracts, we do prepare them with mentoring. We give them an understanding of how to compete for business with us, and we also give them a hands-on approach to help them develop so that they can win those contracts.
Thank you. Commissioner Beverly.
Thank you. I did notice Washington Gas's presentation with regard to the idea of unbundling contracts, and then I was going to ask you also in terms of debriefing. How extensive is your debriefing? You debrief each of the applicants that applied for just give me an idea how you do it. Each of the applicants that applied for the job.
So normally with a debrief, obviously we can't give the numbers that their competitors provided. However, we could provide guidance on things such as maybe they left out information, maybe their bid was not complete, just guidance if they left out information or it wasn't detailed enough, kind of things like that, but not necessarily pricing overall. Maybe would say your pricing was over 50% based on the competitor. So they'll give open guidance to say, just make sure you look at what the market is doing.
List of who gets these awards.
Who gets the awards?
Who gets the job?
The job.
Mhm.
Oh, after it's awarded?
Yes.
Certainly. Was the question, do we document the award?
Is it public information is what you're
Well, I'm
asking?
asking both. In terms of someone who applied for it, they notified who got it. They know they didn't get it. I guess if it was given to somebody else, but is there something that you issue that says who actually got the job?
I'm sorry, I want to make sure I understand. So are they notified that they did not get the job?
When you notify somebody that they didn't get it, notify
Yes.
them who did.
Absolutely. And then they're offered the debrief from the contract administrator or the category manager. And then it's also on our website under Supply Diversity. There's a tab that has, if you were unsuccessful in a bid, you can click on this link and it will give them instructions on how they can schedule an appointment.
Okay? And if they have questions, I've heard this from some people before. If they have questions on how to get proper access to your portal or to answer questions with regard to it, is there something that tells them on the face of your internet site who it is they contact?
Me.
Okay.
Last year, I offered myself.
In terms of the average size of your small business, can you give me small businesses? Can you give me an idea of what size that might be just on average? So are we talking about $5 million companies, $10 million, $100 million? I'm just trying to get an idea of what the average size is.
The size of the companies?
I'm trying to get the idea of the size of the average small business that you give awards or work to.
We would have to kind of take some research and follow up on that, sir. That's an action you want, we'll document.
My real question is sort of how small is small. So I was trying, and when you talk about chopping up work, I was trying to get an idea of the size of the people who get the job, size of the business of those who get the job relative to everyone else.
I'll comment by saying no size is too small because we do all types of work from catering services to janitorial services. So there's really no cutoff at below in terms of how big. I don't know what that number is, but we can certainly circle that back.
Would you also have an idea of how the successful applicants are first time? This goes to a question the chair asked that is seemingly some people are getting these awards over and over and over. I was just trying to figure out an idea the percentage of people that are first time. And I would like to get from each of you, if you have it, not necessarily Dave, I kind of wanted an idea of, simple idea of what your protocols are for your process. So if you have a debriefing process and you have a have unbundling of contracts,
Correct.
whatever it is that you have, and just sort of a blurb as to how you do it. I just wanted to see how it works with regard to your company, and I'm not trying to keep it secret unless you have to keep it secret. If there's something that somebody else can benefit from. Trying to read your name from across here. It's like,
Smith, it's easy to remember.
okay. As Mr. Smith said, there may be things that other companies can benefit from. I'm trying to get it so that to the extent that other companies can benefit from it and people can make more successful CBE programs just with simple ideas from what somebody else thought up, sort of get it spinning a little faster. In terms of portals, should there be, in your opinion, just the portal access on your website, or should there be another central location? I've heard some people complain that it's difficult for them to navigate the three systems, and it's confusing, not just the three systems, but some people apply for CBE opportunities for other agencies in the city. Everything is different, and they're often, according to them, very confusing. There's nobody to ask any questions, and sometimes they're pressed in terms of trying to get an application in. They may have just hours to answer something. It makes it very difficult. And also the size of the work relative to how much they would get out of it is also presenting some people with a problem. Some people with problems in the sense that they have to put in an inordinate amount of the resources of their company to apply for something to get rather limited revenues.
A lot to unbundle. I think a couple of things that I would kind of comment upon is I think there's a great opportunity to find a way to somehow centralize our various websites. I think last year we kicked around the idea of potentially even putting it up on the DC Public Service Commission website, because you've got a certain level of small business engagement that we've actually made some enhancements to our existing vendor website. When I joined our team coming from her past, she made some significant improvements to make it a little user friendly. So we're always looking for ways to improve upon, but that's something that we may need to kind of follow back up and maybe partner with some of our peers to look at ways that we could collect. That's kind of how I'll unbundle from a response perspective.
The other two companies, I'd like to the extent that you can weigh in on any of the things that I asked, and also I'd like to get from you whatever protocols you may have for your CBEs. I'm not asking for a lot of detail, or it doesn't have to be a tome, just something fairly simple.
And we'll follow up. But I do want to offer, we also do debriefings with suppliers, right? Because what we found is that with any of us, if we are bidding work or we're taking on a project or to get in the mix on something and we're not successful in the bid process, it helps when our category managers are able to sit down with those suppliers and walk them through could have done better. We can't reveal price. We don't do that, but we are to say, hey, well, probably could have done better in this question or that one, to help them understand, because we can't improve if we don't know what the problem is, right? Even with our own personal, we can't, we take a test and we don't pass it. We have to understand what we have to do to get better. So having those one-on-ones and having those conversations in the debrief is typically helpful for the suppliers as well.
Is there any, thank you for that. Do any of the companies think it's necessary for you to sort of internally audit what it is that somebody represents to you about their CBE status in the work? So do you do that?
Absolutely. My background, actually, I worked on a civil line project as a compliance manager, so my background is very much compliance. We audit it on a monthly basis. Sometimes it's as simple as it doesn't pass the smell test, right? Where someone's spend is just significantly higher even than what's been dispersed to them. So yes, we do audit it internally on a monthly basis.
Verizon's got a very robust audit, internal and external. So yeah, we audit everything.
We also review certifications as well.
And I think that's all the questions I have for right now.
Thank you, Ms. Beverly. So if my initial comments at the beginning of this hearing seemed a bit dour, let me turn that frown around a little bit. I think there is good news to be shared at a briefing hearing such as this. If I look at the three of your companies collectively, large national, international companies operating in several states across this great nation, if my math is right, and I'm not great at math, but if my math is right and your reporting is very good, collectively, the three of you spent in system-wide contracts last year over $1.5 billion. That's a huge amount of money to put into this economy. I think that just to give some reference and scope of the magnitude of the sort of hearing that we're having today, $1.5 billion between the three of you spent. And with CBEs here in the district, over 108 million. I wish there were some other organizations out here spending a tenth of that. I want to commend you. And I know that this is not easy work, hiring and engaging with CBEs. I come from an organization that for the prior 12 or so years of my professional life, every year we struggled with this CBE number and we had a goal to hit. So I do sympathize with you and I understand the sort of robust research that you have to do and certification to make sure that someone is a CBE, maintains their CBE status, isn't just turning those contracts over and then letting them out to somebody else. I do understand that. I appreciate it. And so I just wanted to commend you for the work that you're doing. But Mr. Smith, you did admit, I think you kind of anticipated my question when I, at the top of the hour said, these numbers, did not look as good as they looked in 22. The 23 numbers were down a bit. And you said that you lost a major vendor. For Pepco, I don't think did you experience something similar? You lost a major vendor or two, or was it more related to, I think there was a conversation around certain projects may have ended and therefore some spending in certain areas may have ceased.
Yeah.
Was that how
Yes.
more, what was the case in your? Okay. And so for the three of you organizationally, I think Washington Gas has already, or maybe Pepco, you already said, let's turn the page forward to 25. What sort of opportunities, you have a number of contractors here in the audience today, and I'm sure more are at home listening or back in their offices. What sort of opportunities might be available in 25 where people can start to say, oh, Verizon is going to be looking for X, or Pepco might be looking for Y. Would you be able to give us a glimpse, little look through the crystal ball to say, hey, these are some opportunities, some areas in where we will be trying to spend more dollars in the next year or two?
I cannot definitively say, however, historically, I can speak on that a lot of dollars are definitely spent in the construction space. I named a few during my presentation where I mentioned janitorial, utilities, drywall, painting as well. Those are opportunities that come up on a regular basis, at least on an annual basis. So I would say even to some consulting opportunities potentially may be available in 2025.
Could you specifically say consulting in what sorts of areas? Or is that
So
pigeonholing you too?
So consultant obviously is broad, but more so in like the engineering space.
For Verizon, everything's going wireless. So to that end, we're always looking for folks that can handle the pole and conduit work that are very specialized. It's a unique set of skills as well as
You said
equipment.
pole and
Pole and conduit, underground conduit, poles, and then the attachments of all the electronics. And once that is installed, so we've got that component. That's a nice build. That'll be a lot of sub work. The electronics that tie all of them together, and that was the vendor we lost. We need firms that can help us with the engineering, design, software implementation, database tracking, and IT associated with making that network operate and stay operating.
And for Pepco in 25, some areas of opportunity, we have a few RFPs that will be issued around wood distribution poles. in 25. We've got some
Say
wire,
wind?
wood distribution.
Wood, wood.
Wood poles,
wood.
I'm sorry, wood poles,
My hearing is.
wood poles.
Well, you said wind.
I'm sorry,
thought-
wood distribution poles RFP coming up in 25, as well as some opportunities for us to purchase wire and cable in 25 as well, and power transformers in 25 as well. But if you think about what we typically buy to keep our business going, utility construction is typically one of those that's very important to us doing business, so one that we typically have opportunities in.
Next question. This is, it's a little bit weedy, but it gets into the procurement process itself. I've seen solicitations from some of your organizations that, put out to vendors and it says, list work with prior other utilities with which you may have worked. Now, for a small vendor, looking at that, they may not have worked with a utility in the past. You guys are clearly very large companies as well, and sometimes there are very high bonding requirements, a certain amount of insurance that one might have to carry that can get quite burdensome for a large business. Have you looked at those aspects of your procurements to say what might you be able to do to make your procurement process maybe a little bit more small vendor friendly or more accessible to some of our smaller vendors?
Well, you can appreciate the gas industry is quite a safety-driven industry, and there's a lot of not only local but federal oversight. So we have a very detailed operator qualification process that our construction and engineering vendors have to kind of overcome. And so that area is something that we've talked about potentially as we bring on more suppliers of working in existing vendor tier 2 perspective, that they can grow that qualification to eventually become tier 1. It's kind of a pathway to becoming a supplier. But the rest of the particular areas, which are where we spend our focus, is the ones that don't really require that operator qualification, and that's a heavy focus for us. A good example would be is even the paving aspect, which is a large percentage of our actual spend. We spend a lot of that with Fort Myers, which is one of your diverse suppliers. So we categorize it, look at where you focus and become a supplier without OQ certification, and try to partner as much as we can, give them a pathway to become a tier 1 supplier.
At Verizon, we prorate the size of the contract to the amount of insurance coverage that a firm would need. I don't need one of our landscapers to be insured as heavily as one of our electronics manufacturers. Clearly, there's totally different risk and volumes there. So we scale it to keep be exactly sensitive to the point you're making, Commissioner.
Thank you.
We also take it into consideration. I would have to back to you with about it.
Chairman, those.
I want to go back, sorry to you, Ms. Lewis, about something you said, because it's kind of bothering me. This is around, again, the DCCBE spend. I believe your response was part of the reason why it went down was because certain contracts came off the books, therefore the spend is lower. But overall, since 2021, you increased the total system procurement, or not you yourself, but Pepco
Yes.
increased total system procurement by $100 million. And during that same time, DCCBE spend went down by 70 million. And I don't think there's really a response needed. But I'm telling you this because I want you to know, and Dennis next to you and Ms. McClure behind you, that this is something that the commission looks at. We are serious about it. And so I certainly understand that some contracts come off the books, but you've had additional spend. So that additional spend should have included some DCCBE contracts. And so moving forward, we would certainly like to see that. The other thing I would ask more generally is, I know with some of the larger infrastructure projects that Pepco has, DC Plug, as well as Capital Grid, there are CBE reporting requirements. Have you found that to be beneficial in determining suppliers for those projects? As we look at greater and greater large investment coming into the city, I'm just trying to see if that's a beneficial tool for you in terms of helping to select different suppliers.
Are you asking if the information we're getting about the CVEs?
Or just a requirement from us or from the council to use CBs on certain yeah.
Yes, focus on the CVEs, yes.
Okay.
So I just want to reiterate, I appreciate, thank you for your comments and your direction. I just want to reiterate that we're very intentional. It's very important to us that we do grow our spending opportunities with the CVEs and with the local businesses in particular here in DC for Pepco. So we definitely appreciate the focus that the commission puts on it, because it's also a focus for us as well. And our spend, as we said, goes up and down, but we definitely are intentional. And I heard you loud and clear today about the focus that we need to have on it moving. So thank you.
Just have a question on your challenges. I know we push you to hire more and more CVEs, but I kind of wanted to know if there's a challenge posed by that. So both the energy companies have performance standards that we enforce, and the consequences of not meeting it can be financial to the company. And I'd like to know whether you've experienced any problems in hiring CVEs that put you in a position where you can't meet what you need to do. That happens, what do you do about it? That happened. Okay.
I would say that has not occurred that we are aware of any challenges with CBEs directly. I mean, my role honestly is to be a liaison for them, so I'm going to fight from them. And so whatever obstacle or barrier that may be there, the team honestly works collectively in order to overcome to ensure that they were given a fair chance. So I would say, as of right now, there are no challenges as relates to CBEs.
I'm not aware of any challenges that we've had by way of CVEs as well, and the way in which I'm not aware.
At Verizon, we're very clear on what the requirements are to be a contractor, whether you're a diverse supplier or non-diverse supplier. What our requirements are, terms and conditions, standards, requirements. We're extremely transparent. And so you either meet those standards or you don't. And we're fairly clear on that. And to that end, with that transparency, we haven't had any of the issues that you're asking about, sir.
Last couple of quickies. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you again for your time. It's a great effort that you put in all year long to produce the numbers that you've produced over the last 12 months. Let me ask you this. Do you have similar reporting requirements in the other states in which you operate? And if so, could you tell us a little bit about those requirements?
I'd be happy to take that one first. I was talking to my peers here earlier. Most of us, in fact, all of us were in Maryland just last week with a very similar opportunity to present our 2023 results. And there I didn't lose my number one vendor, so we were on top of the pile. But anyway, what struck me is that in the Maryland hearing, there were 16, 18, 20 signed members of the MOU making presentations. But in the district, it's just 3 of us. And wondering what we can do to encourage our peer group to sign on to this MOU so that when you look at the volume of dollars being directed and spent with diverse vendors, you get a clear picture. It's really going to be impressive. We need to get more of our peer group in here. One of the challenges that I saw coming in, that's all, sir.
I appreciate that view. Thank you.
I'll take this from an Exelon standpoint. So we do have hearings like this and report out to the commissions in the other districts where we do business. So in particular in Illinois, we report out to the Illinois Commission, of course to the Maryland Commission, and to the New Jersey Commission as well, where our sister utility ACE does business. We're also very active in the National Utility Diversity Council, and we have an opportunity to engage and network with commissioners in other states across the country. Although we don't have that's not in our footprint, we also have the opportunity to learn from other commissioners and other commissioners about what they do through our participation in the National Utility Diversity Council. So thank you.
I forgot to add that there are other states, obviously, like you heard, we've got California, Illinois, Maryland, certain large cities such as Philadelphia, Chicago, Los Angeles, have very similar, requirements, opportunities, all voluntary MOUs.
We report and we have to also present to the Maryland Public Service Commission as well.
What about Virginia, the Commonwealth?
No, Virginia does not require.
Well, Mr. Smith, I'll just give you a quick response. The only reason why there's 3 here is because we only regulate 3 utilities here. So the entire
We
business
can
is here.
encourage participation.
Maryland has many more utilities. With that being said, I'd like to thank all of you guys for coming today. We recognize, of course, that this is voluntary, but we consider it to be very important. I'm glad to see that you do as well. We look forward to seeing you again next year and seeing improvements in numbers. But no, seriously, thank you. And at this point, I think we're scheduled to take a short break, but I know we went over a little bit. So this will be, everybody except for the presenters here, the utilities, just stay in their seats. We're going to do a little bit of movement in the room, and then we'll go on to our presentation from DSLBD, which is a vital partner in this in terms of certifying the businesses. So thank you.
All rise.
Please, everybody sit, but our utilities, you guys can leave these seats.
So we have. So the configuration stays the same. Okay, I can help you.
20 years of proficient experience in people, data, and financial management. Brian specializes in commercial real estate data research and analytics, project management, and process improvement and analysis, in addition to his legal background. Demonstrating a strong belief in the effectiveness of collaborative efforts and team achievements in professional settings, Brian consistently provides support and actively participates in special projects and priorities across all areas of the agency. Following Brian's presentation, we will hear from Keith Howard, who is the manager of Business Opportunity Division. Keith is an experienced business and procurement professional with 20 years of experience and expertise. He joined DSLBD in 2019 as a certification specialist, where he learned the certified business enterprise law and spend requirements. The education gathered in certification and his experience as a former small business owner propelled Keith, and he now leads the business opportunities team. This division is responsible for training DC-based businesses while providing technical assistance around government contracting and opportunity identification. Under Keith's leadership, the Business Opportunity Division is also tasked with the overall management of DSLBD's annual District Connect signature event, which connects the business community with the government against the backdrop of access to contracts and capital. With that, I will turn it over to Brian.
Good afternoon to you all.
Good afternoon.
They have to speak briefly on the Certified Business Enterprise Program and its requirements. Next slide, please. So the mission of the DSLBD, Department of Small and Local Business Development, we're here to support the development, economic growth, and retention of district-based businesses and to promote economic development throughout the district's commercial corridors. DSLBD envisions a business environment in which DC businesses are connected in real time with local, federal, and global business opportunities. Small businesses can navigate government quickly, confidently, and effectively. And every entrepreneur and small business with a great idea and a great plan has the capital to make that happen. Next slide, please. So the Certified Business Enterprise Program is a small business inclusion program that helps your business compete for DC government contracts. Next slide, please. So for the district government, CBE spend, the district government directs spending to CBEs, which in turn supports and contributes to job creation in the city's tax base, strengthening the local economy. So for our agency spend and the goals, agencies are required to spend 50% of their expendable budget with CBEs that maintain the small business enterprise category. Then also the DC supply schedule. The schedule is only available to CBEs that maintain the SBE category. For contracts under $250,000, contracts under $250,000 are set aside for CBEs that maintain that SBE category. And then for subcontracting requirements, government-assisted projects over $250,000 are required to subcontract 35% of the total value of the contract with CBEs that maintain that SBE category. Next slide, please. So for the CBE certification process and the program, there are different categories that you can apply for. And when you apply for these categories, they can all go towards the percentage of awards that can be added. You can get up to a total of 12 points. So the CBE program provides contractor preferences for local business so they can better compete in contract and procurement opportunities with the DC government. Businesses may be certified in any of the following categories. And again, only 12 points can be awarded at maximum at any one time towards any contract. For this, our main requirement is that you be a local business enterprise. So for that, it specifies that your business has to be within the district and that the highest level managers of that business are operating within the district. So you have to have your business located here and your highest level managers have to be operating the day-to-day management of the business within the district. So we have the categories, local business enterprise, which is, the absolute must. Then the other subcategories are small business enterprise, the disadvantaged business enterprise, resident-owned business, development zone enterprise, long-time resident business, veteran-owned business, the local manufacturing, and then also the equity impact. If we could, next slide, please. So to apply for the program, first, it's completely race and gender neutral, and there is no cost associated with applying for the CBE program. So you have to go online. If you go to our website, dslbd.dc.gov, there's a tab that says Get Certified. You hover over that Get Certified tab, there you'll see things like facts, tools, so you can do an assessment to see whether or not you do qualify to become a CBE. So the first steps are for you to apply online using the Chrome browser for our district enterprise system, our DES system. Then once it's applied for, certification specialists such as myself, within 10 business days, will review your application and return it to you with anything that we feel we still need or anything that needs to be updated. Then, if necessary, we will conduct a virtual site visit where we will review with you your business practices and kind of see your space. And then finally, there'll be a determination made as to whether or not you're granted the CBE program. Next slide, please. So the DSLBD also does joint ventures and has a joint venture program, which provides contracting preference for certified joint ventures. The preference certified joint venture receives is based on the percentage of ownership the CBE member maintains within the joint venture. Next slide, please. So the joint venture program, the DSLBD accepts joint venture package submissions for joint ventures that intend to submit a response to solicitation. Joint ventures are only accepted for a specific solicitation. So there is no blanket joint venture. Each individual RFP that's issued, you have to have if you're trying to have a joint venture, you have to apply for it for each individual bid. The joint venture must have a member that owns a majority or minority interest in the joint venture that is a certified business enterprise. DSLB does not certify joint ventures. To meet the small business enterprise, SBE and CBE subcontract requirements, to meet the small and certified business equity and development participation requirements, and to respond to a solicitation or set asides for CBEs. As a DSLBD certified joint venture is not a CBE. Next slide, please. So the joint venture preference, a certified joint venture preference for CBE ownership joint venture where all members are CBEs. The preference points are allotted to the majority CBE owner or the managing member. Then there's a sliding scale. So a joint venture where there's a non-CBE member, CBE is greater than 50%, points allotted to the majority CBE member. If the CBE is greater than or equal to 35% and less than or equal to 50%, you get up to 4 preference points. If the CBE is greater than or equal to 20% and less than 35%, you get up to 2 points. If the CBE is less than 20%, it'll be 0 points awarded. Next slide, please. So if you need any assistance with trying to reach out to us, we have phone calls that we do on the 2nd and 4th Thursday of each month, where you can go in to DSLBD, BRC's E-Center Direct Events, and you can search for one of the phone calls and you can sign up for a slot where you can have a 30-minute phone call where someone will go through and address any questions you might have. We also do an in-person walk-in the 3rd Wednesday of each month at Martin Luther King Junior Library. It's the main entrance area. If you walk in and you go to your left, there's a section of open cubes and little rooms there where we can meet with you. Then also there's webinars. We partner with the Small Business Resource Center and the DLCP. We do certification in terms of CBE certification, drop down your menu, how to become certified, how to become a CBE. And then also, if you have any questions or want to apply for a joint venture, you can email us at cbe.info@dc.gov. Next slide, please. So there's our agency website, dslbd.dc.gov. Our general number is that 202-727-3900. And again, if you have any questions, at cbe.info@dc.gov. And if you are currently applying and you have any technical issues, you can reach out to us at des.support@dc.gov. Next slide. Thank you for your time, and if you have any questions.
Thank you for that presentation. We will do like we did with the previous panel, just save questions for both of you guys. We can move to the next presentation from you, Mr. Howard. Is it correct? Correct. Yes. Thank you.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. Thank you for the opportunity to present. I want to thank the audience for their attendance today. Again, my name is Keith Howard. I'm the manager of the Business Opportunities Division for the Department of Small and Local Business Development. I also like to call our division the now what, right? So you've got your CBE, now what, right? So if I can get to the next slide, please. So on behalf of our director, Rosemary Suggs Evans, who works with me every day advocating for CBEs, I just wanted to bring greetings. She wasn't able to make it today, but we did want to recognize our director. Next slide. So the Business Opportunities Division, what exactly do we do in this now what? So for us, it all starts with training the CBEs. That's very important to us. It's one of our KPIs. So we put on approximately 40 trainings per fiscal year, specifically for CBEs. However, we do invite folks that, as we meet in networking and outreach, those that aspire to become a CBE, we invite them in to those trainings as well. Currently right now, Build a Dream is our second bullet. Currently right now, we're running a Build a Dream program that is for specifically for returning citizens who are working through our Aspire program who want to be entrepreneurs. So it is a 6-night, 2-hour per night training. I'm right in the middle of it, right? I'm gonna leave here and go right to it. But it's a delight. It's the third year in a row that I've done it, and it's great. And we also will invite CBEs who are new CBEs that just want to get that refresher on some of the skill sets of an entrepreneur. Sports wagering is also in our wheelhouse. We share that with our compliance division. So our compliance division looks at the spend to make sure that those sports books are spending 35% with CBE. Our job is the capacity plans. So we go through the capacity plans for each sports book to see what are they doing to give back to those CBEs. A great win for us was FanDuel sending 5 CBEs out to Vegas for a gaming conference, all expenses paid. And that was negotiated by yours truly. Thank you very much. Matchmaking. I mean, this is the meat and potatoes for a CBE with us is matchmaking. And we do it many a different way. I'm happy to say that Washington Gas has participated in 2 of ours, and we appreciate their participation. Our big one is around District Connect. We probably have 30 agencies at District Connect just to matchmake. There are other things that are going on at District Connect. District Connect probably brings in about 350 to 400 CBEs annually. So that event is October 29th. It has been at the MLK Library. We're going to change venue this year and head over to Catholic University. But the matchmaking, and we also do it one-on-one. So we'll take all of our healthcare providers and we'll do matchmaking for each one of them. Clark Construction just recently reached out and asked for their own matchmaking event. Some agencies, DC government agencies, will, especially the independent agencies, will reach out to us directly and say, this is exactly what we need, have the right people in the room, and then we work together to put on the event. We do have, there are many grants at DSLBD, but the one I want to talk about is the formerly known as the CBE Green Grant. We changed the name this year to All Things Green Grant. That grant is for CBEs. So the grantees are all CBEs, and then they provide service to other CBEs. It's a $500,000 grant in partnership with the Department of Energy and the Environment. This is our 3rd year doing that. It's grown every year. So for us, growth means how many CBEs have won a grant, and then how many have been helped. And that number has gone up each year. So we're proud of that. I talked about District Connect already. And then Small Business Assist is where our team, there is a team from DSLBD at the MLK Library every Wednesday. So when Brian talked about if you need help with your CBE application, et cetera, you could get it there. Our job is to do technical assistance with the CBEs. So they go online, register time, book time with us. We're there on the fourth Wednesday of every month, and we meet them where they are, right? So it may be just a capability statement review. It may be we don't have a capability statement. What is a capability statement? We spend a lot of time in the Office of Contract and Procurement's transparency portal, showing them how to do their own market research, et cetera, et cetera. Next slide. So that grant I was talking about, the All Things Green grant, we are right in the middle of the programming on that right now. What we do each year is we'll go back to DOEE as well as one of their larger primes, which is the DC Sustainable Energy and Utility. And we ask, what do you see missing for you to give the more contracts to the CBE? And one of the common themes are legal support, proposal development. That's a big one. Marketing and cost estimation. So this year we did select CBEs to help those other CBEs with that. What we did differently this year was we, since we had a little extra money, was let's go ahead and do a pitch competition. And so we're going to do that. That'll be in September. It'll be out at Sycamore and Oak, and each ward will be represented. They'll have to pitch to get out of their ward in advance, and then they go for the finals. So we're looking forward to that. And we're also taking an old event that we used to do called the CBE Green Industry Rally Day. We've changed the name to Green Ovation, and that is next Tuesday. And I'm happy to say Washington Gas has joined us. They're going to be a partner, and they're going to attend the event. That one, we hired a CBE to run the event. The staff was doing it, but again, we had a little extra money, so let's get that to a CBE. So we've got an event planner doing that. So it's going to just really enhance and heighten the event. Next slide, please. So District Connect, just so you all can kind of get a clearer scope on it, the day is really a one-day conference, and it's all about access to capital and access to contracts. So, we'll have our opening plenary session, and then the matchmaking starts. The matchmaking will go for the bulk of the day. And then while the matchmaking's going on, we'll have workshops, specifically things that CBEs have asked for. We'll partner with OCP to have contract officers come out and speak to them about certain topics. So it's a great day, and then we kind of top it off with the networking at the end. Next slide. I've already talked about small businesses, but this slide will show you some of the items that we discuss on the fourth Wednesday when we're there. So we talk to CBEs about it's just general business advice and support, which is my favorite thing to do. CBE, the waiver process. CBEs have a lot of questions about waivers. And so we share waivers with our compliance team. So we're there to answer those questions. New business and entrepreneurship ideas, access to capital. And there are many different programs, not only at DSLBD, but at large. We'll work with the Department of Insurance, Securities and Banking also to get those new products out. And then, of course, referring. Right. So we work very closely with our Apex Accelerators team for those CBEs that want to go on and do federal work. We'll work closely with our Apex team to do so. Next slide. So here's our contact info. Same phone number that Brian gave out, different email address, business.opportunities@dc.gov. We got 2 folks on that, so you're going to get a reply. And then I have no problem giving my email, keith.howard3@dc.gov. Next slide. I believe that's it because we're at Q&A.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, both of you, for those presentations. As today we spend a lot of time talking about the utilities and their procurement, and the commission does its own procurement as well, right? And so hearing about some of the things, especially from you, Mr. Howard, on your side about the different opportunities was very informative. We have certainly been compliant over the past few years, but we can always do better, right? And so it was great to hear about some of the opportunities that you guys offer. I would also note, and Ms. Lewis is still here, so I'm gonna have to continue to beat up on her, that I heard you say several times that WGL is partnering with you or is going to be a partner. I did not hear you say the same thing about Pepco, so perhaps that will be different going forward. Oh, there you go. Okay, perfect. So, but having said that, one of the questions I did have, and Brian, forgive me, I don't know how to say your name correctly. I don't want to butcher it.
Over.
Over. Oh, okay, Mr. Overy. Typically, how long does it take for a business to get certified CB? Like, what's that whole time scale look like?
So the time frame can differ, only because once the application comes into us, it begins and we have a clock. So our goal is to have it back and with the decision within 45 business days. But it depends on how long the applicant has the application. So, if they submit it, say on the 5th, and say we get it back to them within 10 business days, so on the 15th. While it's back with them in a deficient status for anything that they have to update or add, then at that point, the clock stops for us. So it really depends on how quickly they return all the information and how soon we get all the information we need and correct it. Once it's in and correct with us, if we need to schedule a site visit, at that point, we have to schedule a site visit, then write up a certain time frame. But so our goal is within 45 business days.
And anecdotally, what would you say is the most common, I want to say problem, maybe the most common deficiency in somebody's application for CBE to get that certification?
There isn't really the most common one. It's really more understanding that we have to adhere to the law. So there are certain things that we have to have in the proper order. So for instance, we have to have a financial statement that, has your balance sheet, your profit and loss statement, your fixed asset inventory. And then some people are like, well, I'm a startup, I don't have anything. We're like, we'll meet you with where you are. So we're not expecting, millions lined up, but if you have a computer, a desk, a chair, a tablet, you can add those as your fixed assets. So just really kind of explaining to people what we need to make sure that they're compliant with the law. That's pretty.
And then my last question before I turn it to my fellow commissioners. I was interested in that Prime joint venture program that you talked about. Is that a relatively new program, or just how does that work for the district? Just give me a little bit more on that, please.
Well, I think they've been doing the joint venture program for a few years now. It's something my supervisor actually she deals with directly because it's for the joint venture program. It's something that comes in to her directly, and so she works with it. And it's like I said, it's kind of her recognition thing that they're trying to apply for a basis. So it's something, and she has kind of more details on it. I don't want to misspeak on any of it, but yeah, it's something that it does a lot. But some people, she made sure she wanted to stress that, it's kind of a per situation thing. And that if you have that joint venture label, it doesn't mean that you're a CBE. It just means for that particular venture, you have the access to.
Thank you.
Sure. Mr. Howard, you said that Washington Gas was partnering with you. I'd like to know kind of an idea of the process. So could you tell me how it works when Pepco shows up? So when, and walk me through the process just briefly from the beginning to the end.
Sure. If I may, I just wanted to go back to the barrier question real quick, because a lot of folks we see before they get to Brian, and I can tell you the number one is clean hands. They can't get the clean hands. So that's part of the application.
And for those who aren't familiar with Clean Hands, just give us real.
Sure. So the Office of Tax and Revenue will provide a clean hands document to the business if they do not owe any taxes or fees to the government. So if the business does owe, then they won't get the clean hands. So the way it works, and we do it many a different way, right? Let's take Tuesday, for example. So Tuesday, what we did was we reached out to folks that we thought would be interested in sustainability and also have opportunities. So that's DOEE, the DC Sustainable Energy and Utility, which is a large prime, DGS, Washington Gas, and I believe that was it. And so Washington Gas's role on Tuesday will be to just match make only. They're also going to do a forecast for about 10 minutes. They're going to forecast out. So I did hear in the earlier conversation, you asked that question. But what we've asked them to do is take 10 minutes and forecast out for the CBEs, what opportunities are not only 25, but what's remaining in 24. We still got some things that they could spend, right? So that's one way. Other ways that we could work with Pepco, very easy. First of all, I think we need to meet and connect, and then once we do that, tell us what you need, what that forecast is, and then we'll do the legwork. We'll go into the CB directory and we'll put down lists. You may need an electrician, a lighting person, right? We'll give you 2 lists, and then we'll work with you. Where are we going to do it? How do you want the protocol? For how much time do they get, et cetera, et cetera?
Is there one more question? Is there such a thing as a green CBE?
Yes.
Okay.
So our definition of one is someone that is already in or wants to enter the sustainability space. So I would say out of the CBE directory of approximately 2,000 CBEs, you could stretch that number to somewhere between 400 and 600 of those CBEs, right? For example, janitorial. A janitorial company may have green products that they want to sell. They may have uniforms that are eco-friendly that they want to sell, right? So it's a stretch. And then it's also, we get a lot of that detail from DOE and from the DCSC.
Mr. Overy, I should take this offline. I really should, because I would be, let me thank both of you. Can you stay after this for 2 minutes? And I'll take this question offline. Let me thank both of you very much for being here today, and for the engagement from our utilities to stay with this as well, because I think this gets to the heart of what we are trying to accomplish here at the commission, is to make sure that there are more opportunities for our certified business enterprises here in the District of Columbia, for our businesses here in the District of Columbia, first to get certified, as you said, and then what, in terms of connecting with some of the opportunities that are here in the city. And so I'm really glad to hear about the matchmaking opportunities that you have. You said one of the utilities participated in those matchmaking days. Does that mean the others have declined to participate or haven't been invited, or what?
No. I think I will say that at Pepco, I think we just had the wrong contact. I don't think that person is even there anymore. So I think that was theirs. And Verizon, what we have done with them is they had a grant that they put out, and we made sure that CBEs were aware of that grant and pushed it out to the CBEs. But we haven't worked together to see if there are any opportunities. But we'd be glad to do that. We're not hard to find.
All right. Thank you.
I do not have any further questions for you. I think we're going to now transition to the last portion of our program, which is just really talking about the commission's contracting opportunities and really going through our website and showing suppliers how to access our contracting opportunities. And I think Chanel is going to lead us through that.
Yes, good afternoon again. As the chairman mentioned, the commission also has its own CBE goals. So we wanted to just take this opportunity to walk those of you who are looking to partner with us through our website and show you exactly where you can go to sign up for our bidders list and also see the opportunities that are either forthcoming. So I will walk through our website. You can start off going to our main page, which is www.dcpsc.org. Once you get to our website, if you scroll down, there is a heading that says Hot Topics. And at the bottom of that list, there is contracting and procurement. On our contracting and procurement page, you can get all of the information that you would need to access our procurement opportunities. Our procurement is led by the Office of the Deputy Executive Director, and we have some great people who are willing and available to assist you if you have any questions. As you can see, there is the current solicitations and the opportunity procurement opportunities, upcoming procurement opportunities. I'll click on current solicitations. I believe we do have a few at the moment. I would like to highlight one that is very close to what I'm working on, which is our consulting services to advise the commission on equity matters related to the development of a benefits cost analysis model. That is currently open and proposals are due on August 14th. So if you are interested, please take a look at that and submit a proposal. I'm going to go back one tab just to show you all, those who are not in our system already, we do have a place that you can sign up. So on that same page, if you scroll to the bottom, there's a sign up and learn about new procurement opportunities. We try to make it as simple as possible. So if you hit the sign up button and fill out some information, you will be tapped into all of our procurement opportunities. We do have one of our staff available if anyone in the audience has any questions about the website or procurement, and we'll take that at this moment.
Well, if you're too shy, it's Kim in the back. Please feel free to see her afterwards, but her and the rest of the team, they do an excellent job ensuring that we are in compliance on our contracting side and getting those opportunities out. So thank you. There being no further questions, once again, I'd like to thank companies for coming today, as well as DSLBD, coming and talking and attending our supplier diversity hearing. I'd also like to thank the staff who put a lot of work into making sure that today went very smoothly, which it did. So thank you. Any person interested in commenting on the subject matter of today's hearing may submit written comments addressed to Brenda Westbrook Sedgwick, our Commission Secretary, the Public Service Commission. You can either email her at ocms@psc.dc.gov or a hard copy at 1325 G Street Northwest, Suite 800, Washington, D.C. 20005. Also electronically through our website. Again, I want to thank everybody, and this hearing is now adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.